Started.
Okay, good morning, everyone. How is everyone doing this morning?
Great.
Glad to see everybody could make it. Real quick, I'd like to see if everyone can introduce themselves. We'll start off again with myself, and then just real briefly, if we can go ahead and just introduce yourself, your company, and then we'll just move forward from there. So my name is Sam Castro. I'm the president of the PACR, and want to welcome everyone this morning to the second webinar of our relationships with customers and clients. We have a few minutes just to touch on some of the talking points we did last week. So let me go ahead and start with the first introduction. If you'd like to go, Trina.
Yeah, hi, I'm Trina Cooper, and I am with Meetings and Events, and used to have a professional cleaning network for about 25 years. And I'm the treasurer, manager, whatever of PACR right now.
You're whatever we need you to be. Well, good to see you this morning, Trina. Thanks again for all your hard work in putting this together. So next. That's you.
Yeah, hi. I don't know, is it working? Can you guys see me? Okay.
Yep, I can see you.
My name's Andrew Conklin. I am president of TAC Business Inc. And under that corporation, we run a bunch of different little businesses underneath that. And I'm here to put my 2 cents worth.
We want that 2 cents. Good morning to you. Larry, were you still on?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm Larry Cooper, and I'm with the Experience Convention and Trade Show and Meetings and Events, and happy to join you guys this morning. Looking forward to contributing where I can.
You look like you're on the move.
Well, I stopped for a second. I have meetings with the hotel this morning, so going as fast as I can.
Well, thanks for joining us, Larry. Was it one more person?
This is Clark Greep with True North Companies. I'm an insurance agent. I'm on the board, and I've been with PACR for about 15 years.
Well, welcome again, everyone, this morning, and everyone who will hopefully view this in the future as well, too. We're going to go ahead and get started real quick. We wanted kind of to touch base on some of the topics that we had last month in our meeting. One of the big things, obviously, was retaining relationships with whether customers or vendors. So one of the key things that I noticed as I looked over my notes is we had quite the conversation regarding who exactly to build the relationship with. Is it with our customers? Is it with our employees? Is it with our equipment? What is it that we need? And the key thing here is, cultivating that relationship, not just regarding the work itself, but a lot of times getting to know people a little bit about their background. I know that seems to help me quite a bit. A couple of things as well, we'll just mention them out real quick and maybe concentrate on that, would be discussion and expectation and bridging those relationships. So those three things are very, very important as we move forward in our businesses. So I'd like to see if someone has anything to add regarding the employee relationship, which seems to always be a give and take and sometimes up and down as well. But we know without these valuable employees and technicians that things could obviously turn sour right away. So if anyone has any ideas regarding that, I'm more than happy to share what I know and hopefully what you have experienced as well. So.
Well, I'll tell you one thing I think is extremely important in building relationships is you have to be able to look people in the eyes.
True, very true.
And then what?
And then, reach in their wallet.
Follow up on your promises.
Oh, very key.
Well, it's one of those things where, the connection between people is so important. And one of the things that's happening nowadays, especially with texting, tweeting, Instagramming, all these other things, is we lose the human connection between things. And we don't, so much of what we do as human beings is actually receiving through our feelings, the connection that we have with people, especially like what Clark said, eye to eye. We read so much there. And when you just read a text, you can't tell what the mood is of the person. You can't get a sense of who they are. And that's why, and I know Larry probably would have something to say about this, because dealing with some people and all they want to do is text, it's great if you know them and you're communicating, but not such a great thing to do when you're dealing with a client.
I know
Well,
we've
and that
experienced a
is
little bit.
pretty darn critical, to say the least. I deal with hotels all the time, and I'm pretty old school, I think. At least that's what they tell me. I like to have relationships with people one-on-one, over the phone, through video conferencing like we are now, in person, and get to know the person, because I like to do business with people that I know and I like and I trust. And what's happened in the last 5 years is that so many of the younger people that I'm dealing with don't want to talk on the phone. They really don't care if they meet me or not. They like to text me information. As a matter of fact, one hotel was texting me the contracts to negotiate instead of talking on the phone. And I got to a point with them where I just text back, I don't accept text contracts. If you're interested in my business, call me. Well, I did that for 3 months. They never responded. And that's why we left the Mirage Hotel and went to the Paris Hotel. Pretty fascinating.
You know where I think it all went wrong? It all went wrong with The Godfather. Remember that scene, The Godfather? When he goes, hey, this isn't personal, it's business. And, you know, they blow someone up. And that was like cool. That was like cool for like 40 years. Everyone's like, yeah, hey, I can screw you over. Don't worry, this is business, it's not personal. And that's such a lie. It's the biggest lie out there. All business is personal. And if people don't want to admit that, then they keep on lying to yourself. But you really are creating relationships. And what makes it so great that it's personal is that a personal relationship, there's accountability by both parties. So if you just call it a business relationship and you keep everything cold and sterile, you're really opening yourself up to get screwed both ways. Either the person you're working for won't feel connected for you and they won't use your services again, or they're not going to trust you because in the back of your mind, they know that you just view them as another customer. So yeah, it's important that people realize connections create business.
Well, it seemed to me that I had thought this way for a while, but you know, I thought texts were very impersonable because it basically said I would rather text you than actually talk to you. And I think if I was an employee today, and I would probably think, and if I was a lot younger, I would probably think texting that I'm not going to make it in today for work would be something that would be okay. Whereas folks that have been around a little bit longer would say, no, that's not okay. If there's a problem and you're not going to make it in today, please call me. Let me know. Just don't text me and say, I'm not going to make it in today. And that's where I get real confused with some of the folks, because they like nothing but texting. Like Larry said, some people just can't get out of that habit. And I think if you want instant gratification, you need to call someone. You need to know. You don't wait for someone to respond back. Maybe they're not walking around with their phone in their hand like you are every day. So I think it can be real right on the fence whether it's personable and real impersonable by just texting. Yeah, kind of having a few in and outs with regarding that.
Well, I think what it is knowing your customer.
Yeah.
Because if your customer, because you're here to serve, and when you know the way your customer is comfortable communicating, then you can communicate on those same lines. And it means that you need to become really proficient in the different ways. But the key of it is knowing your customer. And I had a couple of slides that I wanted to bring up and just show you as I connect on here. And it's got a couple thoughts. So let me see if I can get this to scroll down. So here's one about improving client relationships. So the customer relationship, can you guys see this all okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So it deals with satisfaction, loyalty, service, reliability, improvements, and marketing, quality, and support. These are all pieces. There's a couple of quotes here that say, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And that came from Theodore Roosevelt. And that's so true because they need to feel that you care. And the other one is Steve Jobs. Get closer than ever to your customers, so close that you tell them what they need well before they realize it themselves. The other slide that had a couple quotes too. One is Jeff Bezos from Amazon. If we can keep our competitors focused on us while we stay focused on the customer, ultimately we'll turn out all right. So that really meant, you know, pay attention to your customer. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Just improve what you can do and focus on the customer. Sir Richard Branson says, I've always believed that the way you treat your employees, I thought this was interesting, the way you treat your employees is the way they will treat your customers, and that people flourish when they're praised. And the final quote is from Carl Jung, who did a lot of studies with the brain, the way you think, and psychology, dreams, and he said, you are what you do, not what you say you'll do. So these are just some things to think about when it comes to serving your customer and your employees also.
Well, you can definitely see where each one of those comments, when you look at those individuals, you can see how that is something that they live by. You know, it's not what I do, it's not what I say I'll do, it's what I actually will do. Hey, he's in San Francisco.
Pretty cool toys on this Zoom call.
I know. I was like, how do I do that?
Hey, I got a new customer in San Francisco. Oh my goodness.
Well, some of the bottom line with this really is about the fact that there's caring involved. And that if you're here to do a service, you really need to care about your customer and you need to care about your employees and you need to get to know who they are because you can't serve them if you don't know them.
Very true. Very true. Clark, you got anything to add to that? Are you still around, Clark?
I have a question.
Well, we want
If we have people that we have to deal with texting, does that mean we have to learn how to use emoticons?
Maybe if they like it.
So I have something from the business perspective with texting. And I know I've a lot of the big properties or home builders is that, you know, if they text you little questions, it's always easier. You can call them back because you know they're on their phone. But as far as status updates or pictures at the end of a job, we always try to text those because everyone's phone is a big mobile library, including mine. So I want my employees, when they're done with the job, to tell me the status of the job and send me a picture of it. And then when it's time to go back or do billing or if I have questions, and it happens about 4 or 5 times a week, where a home builder or someone will ask me a question specifically about a job, I have that information in my phone with me all the time. And I feel like a lot of people will make phone calls as a way to communicate information, but what they're really doing is they're passing the ball to you. And then unless you're fast to write it down, you don't have a record of it unless you got it in a text form.
Okay.
And we've discovered that a lot. And, you know, people who are really busy, well, didn't you get my phone call? Remember I told you that? And they don't remember because they are so busy. So usually, even if we have a phone call with them, we'll still text them a reminder of what was discussed. And in that way, texting has really been invaluable. You know, I couldn't run my company without it at this point, honestly, you know.
But that's done once you've had a relationship built.
Exactly. And like you said, everyone likes to communicate differently, and you get a feel of that person in your relationship, what it is exactly, how they want to communicate. But anyway, that's just been my experience.
I think it's a great way to, you know, if you get a call too, just to say, hey, I'll call you back in 5 or something like that.
Exactly.
To keep it going.
Yeah, I can't stand alone, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's
Well, that is
definitely a way
really
to keep track.
interesting, Andrew, because I think it is such an important tool of documentation on your jobs and to document conversations. And I think that's critically important. You know, a lot of times I do exactly what you just said. If someone texts me, I call them. And, you know, what popped in my head when you said that was, can you call too much? Can you I don't know if you want to say overstay your welcome, but, you know, some people may just be so busy that they don't have time for calls. That's why they're texting. So how do you balance that? How do you look at that?
Well, it definitely can be a convenience to all your customers, especially if that's the way they like to communicate. And I know the same for us working with everyone. Pictures, that's why you have a phone that has a camera. Take a picture. If there's something that was a problem, take a picture. It's easier to send that picture to either a property manager, a superintendent, a building engineer, if they can actually see. I'm really hard on my customers in that sense when they call regarding a water damage. You know, is it 500 square feet or 5 square feet? Send me a photo. You're there.
You mean there's a difference?
Yeah, no kidding. There is no difference. This is the
I
price.
think technology, though, makes a big difference, though, too, because if you use an iPhone, and I'm not an iPhone fan, but for office communications, you know, you can tie in your computer, it can share the same texting information as a phone does. So if I have employees out in the field or even to my phone and they text me and it's linked to my computer, then my office people can access those same text messages, you know, and upload the pictures to Service Monster or another software, you know, keep track of threads so they always know what's going on in the field. And that's how we've used text messaging. But as far as customer service goes, you know, it's crap. I mean, it's good to make a phone call if someone doesn't answer, text them back right away and go, hey, I just tried to call you. I'm sorry I missed you. Give me a call and you have a chance, and then leave it at that. But other than that, that's about the extent that we've used it for.
You know, right now there's a new buzz. It's been out there for a while, but they just call it CRM, and you can Google it. CRM, Customer Relation Management. And they're building a whole new industry with the new terminologies, with the new ideas. And if you just go on and Google CRM, there's all kinds of information that's out there about it. But the bottom line is, it's first building the rapport, because you've got to build that rapport. You've got to get to know people, and then you can start doing business, and then you serve. You just continually serve them, and you ask. You've got to listen. So you've got to ask, what can I do for you? What is it that you need? What are you looking for? And you listen. You can't, the days of walking in and just spouting off about yourself and about what you got and all this other kind of stuff, there's a lot of people that get really turned off with that because they want that genuineness. They don't want the sales spiel. So you know what you know, and you need to be authentic, and you need to share it with people when you go in. But the biggest thing is to make them, your client or your employee or whoever, the most important person in the room. And it's not about you. It's not about your company and how special you are. You know, and you're going to communicate that in your discussion, what the things that you offer. but it's really making them feel like they're the center of attention, because they're going to know. They'll know the difference between a sales pitch and
Someone who's genuine.
someone that's genuine, someone that cares about them, someone who's going to be responsive.
So you're actually talking about telling the truth. Wow. Isn't that interesting? You know, we had a lot of very, very large jobs. One of them was the Colorado Convention Center. And when I went in one time, a manufacturer had actually called us in to go look at their carpet there. And it was so trashed, we couldn't believe it. And, you know, they wanted us to clean the thing and guarantee them that it would, you know, look really good. And I said to them, you know what? I don't think I can do it the first time. I need to contract to clean this twice. Let's clean it twice in 30 days.
Wow.
Larry, we're kind of losing you a little bit.
He's going over the bridge.
Yeah. Well, one of the things like yesterday, what he's saying,
And then,
being honest and being sincere like that, I got a call yesterday from a salesperson, and she told my staff, she was like, hey, my name's Ashley, and I talked to her. She said, call me back, blah, blah, blah. And I get on the phone, and she picks it up, and she goes, I just want to remind you about the conversation we had about the technology, and wondering if you discussed with your staff whether you want to bring in IT, or if you're just doing it in-house. So she started asking me the questions, but she started acting like she already had a rapport with me, like I already knew about her company, like I've already had a conversation with her. And I'd never heard of this company. I'd never heard of this person. I'd never had a conversation. So right off the bat, I'm going, okay, that was a really slimy way to get me on the phone. I didn't want to talk to her. No, it wasn't authentic. It wasn't true. It was just a way to get past the people answering the phone to get to me and make me think that I had a rapport. And I didn't have a rapport.
that's
And I
called
thought,
sometimes.
no. Yes, it was not. I would have remembered.
How'd that work out for you? Yeah.
But I just know how I felt as soon as I started talking to her, because I'd never heard of that company before, and I know I never talked to her before. So, you know, again, it's that being authentic, being truthful, really caring about the person. All I knew is she wanted to get my business, and she was going to kind of lie her way in the door. I'm like,
It's funny because you kind of feel somebody out first before you try your certain go-tos. So to start with your immediate go-to right off the bat, no one wants to be sold a car in their living room or in their business office. You know, you have to bring yourself, your person, like you said, your personality and your personable way of doing business to even begin to start a relationship, in my opinion.
yeah.
Anyway, question? Did you have something to add, Trina?
No, just curious. Everybody had, you know, any follow-up or last comment, because I know you wanted to move into just a couple updates.
Right, and that's kind of what I was moving towards. Did we have a slide for some of the updates? Did you put something together?
I
thought
do
I
have
saw
a
one of
bit.
the slides.
Yeah, I'll do one more here so
Okay.
people can take a look. There we go.
There we go. Okay, yeah, we just want to touch on these real quick. I know everyone's got a busy day today, and we hope everyone that comes to view our webinar here takes a minute to look at the upcoming events. Obviously, one of the biggest ones we have coming up is the Experience Convention in September. There again, the last Tuesday of every month, we're doing the PACR webinar. We're going to try to put together a topic before it's the last minute, like I always like to do, so everyone has an idea of what's coming up in September and October. Obviously, if you haven't viewed the first video, take the time to do it. I did mine initially after we did the video, and then just reviewed it again this morning. And yeah, there's so much that we can offer regarding just our personal experiences. I think everyone can benefit from those. So take a minute to take a look at those last videos if you get a minute. And one of the other things that is coming up is the ISSA show in Las Vegas in November. There again, it covers a lot of our industry and different facets. And so I think it would be worthwhile for everyone to at least explore the idea of that event. Obviously, we're trying to work our way towards the end of the year here, and we're wanting to put together a holiday event. We're working on that now. So stay tuned. And we would like to put together maybe an abs game for a event. If some folks think that that might be something they'd like to do for their themselves, their employees, their businesses, stay tuned. So anything someone wants to add to that?
I skipped the next social gathering in October.
Oh, yeah.
October 22nd.
October the 22nd, exactly. We're thinking of going back to the Brooklands, original Brooklands. There again, social events. I mean, it really is. It's the personable part that you get to meet everyone. It's the finding out a little bit more about people. It's the human element of doing business. So I really would like to extend an invitation to all those that may be interested in coming to that. So there again, more things to be announced in the coming weeks.
So I'm curious if anybody has one little jewel that they would want to share about improving client relationships. If there's anything, just
well, I think it's
before
like
we go.
It's like you said earlier, not to jump in real quick, but you know, be who you say you are. You know, it's so important to not portray how do I want to say it? Not to portray yourself as maybe being phony. People like people that are genuine. They really move towards that. They gravitate towards people that are feeling positive and good about their company and so forth. So I had that experience just not too long ago when someone said they hadn't seen me in a while. That tells me right off the bat, hey, you're not doing what you say you're doing. So anyone else? I
think it's important to keep in mind how many times you're reaching out to your customers and touching them every month. Wow, that didn't sound right. How many times your company's sending a message? You know, email, is it an email, or do you have a newsletter, or is it a phone call? How many times is it a month? Or in a lot of people's case, it's a year. It's like they might send out something once a year, a holiday postcard. But yeah, people want to feel connected, and then I think it's important that that as a business owner, you know your marketing well enough that you are reaching and communicating with your customers and making contact with them multiple different ways, multiple times a month. And then if you're not doing that right there, check your marketing, because you got a hole. You need to fix it.
Thank you for that comment, Andrew. So true.
I would just remind everybody that we're in service businesses, and the first part of service is to serve. And so if you can solve problems for your customers, obviously you'll be very successful. And so that's what you should be looking for, is how do I make a difference on this job or in this customer's life? And what can I do better in that area? Hope everybody has a great week.
Thank you. You do the same. Stay on the road.
Clark, you got something?
Just make it a great day.
Hey,
You're the only one who can.
say no more.
Well, my last thought would be that is really to listen, is to really show up, be yourself, and listen to what their needs are. And you can expand on that But if you make people feel good and you're authentic and they know they can believe and trust in you, then they'll be back and they'll be loyal and they'll share your name and they'll trust. And especially when you're walking into their houses and their businesses, that relationship with them is the #1 priority. So make sure you're true and authentic in what you do.
Thank you, Trina. And with that, we're going to go ahead and call this second webinar a wrap. Unless someone has anything else to offer, we'll look forward to seeing everyone at the end of September.
Awesome.
And check out
Or
that
in
experience
Las Vegas.
Oh yeah, Las
We'll
Vegas.
see you all in Vegas.
Yeah. We
All
do
right.
have a meet and greet there too. So if you're
Yep,
join us.
please do. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.